Hey guys, LevelCap here. Today is Monday, which means it's time for an episode of Loadout, the series where you guys, the viewers, get to pick a gun and customization for me to use. The way you do this is you leave a comment down below letting me know what kind of weapon and accessories you'd like me to run with, and I will pick one of the top rated comments for the next episode. Today's top comment comes from Broski Swag 7514. He says the Counter-Strike UMP-45 Hipfire Loadout. Primary is the UMP-45 with iron sights, a laser sight, and vertical grip. Secondary, any of your choice. Gadget 1 is the armored insert, Gadget 2 is the grenade launcher or grappling hook. Use the flashbang for your grenade slot. Your mission is to get inside and clear out the room by picking off your enemies, using flashbangs, but most importantly hipfire as much as you can, because you would be surprised how accurate the hipfire on the UMP-45 is outfitted like this. I love your vids, and are you going to be doing weapon masteries with the 1,000+ kills? Now to answer your question, I would love to try and get weapon masteries with all the guns in Hardline. It's 1,000+ kills. If I'm going for the gold camo, it's 1,000 kills, and 1,250 if I want to get the weapon license so I can use it for any faction. This is incredibly hard to do in Hardline because you have to switch off your guns every other round because you're switching from cops to criminals. So it makes this task increasingly hard compared to Battlefield 4. Not only do you have higher kill count, but you can use the weapons only half as much as you could before. The one aspect that makes me think it might be possible is that there's very few weapons in Battlefield Hardline compared to Battlefield 4. So if I'm dividing my kills evenly among all weapons, I'll probably get masteries faster in Hardline than I would for all the guns in BF4. So we'll have to see how this plays out. I would absolutely love to get those masteries, and we'll just have to see what kind of time commitment it is. Now let's talk about the UMP-45 and this setup. Eventually we're all going to have to break ourselves away from the K10 and find a different PDW. The K10 is getting a pretty big nerf in the next patch, so we'll actually have to see how it stacks up to some of the other PDWs. I have a feeling that people are going to start preferring some of the other ones, like the UMP-45. Now I love the UMP-45. Aesthetically, I think it's a badass looking gun. Technology wise, it's a very cool update to the MP5. H&K designed it as a replacement to the MP5, but the MP5 was already such a popular gun that basically they couldn't get away from that one. So this one primarily shoots 45 ACP pistol caliber rounds. They also have a 9mm version of it that you can use in Battlefield 4. Now the strong points of this weapon are that it can 3-shot somebody in close quarters. You're going to be doing 34 maximum damage, so that's 3 shots to the chest, or even 1 shot to the head and 1 shot to the chest, and you'll easily down your opponent. Now, unlike the other PDWs in Hardline, this one actually retains quite a bit of damage at range. It drops off fairly quickly, but it only drops off down to 20 damage. That means that this gun is actually going to be doing more damage per shot than an assault rifle at longer ranges. That means that you're not really losing too much of the effectiveness of this weapon at further ranges, and that means that you should always be taking shots at those long range targets because you're going to be doing a substantial amount of damage. Now, as mentioned in the Loadout comment, this gun also has incredible hipfire accuracy. You have a 1.0 hipfire accuracy, meaning that your base hipfire accuracy is not that much worse than aiming down sight. Whenever possible, you probably should be aiming down sight with this weapon, but when you get in close quarters, there's really not much reason to. Especially with that laser sight and the ergo grip, you're going to be improving your hipfire accuracy even further, and don't worry about standing still while you shoot. You should still have pretty damn good accuracy. Now let's talk about a few of the downsides to this weapon. Well, the first and probably the most important is the fact that it only has a 600 round per minute rate of fire. It's pretty slow, all things considered. Luckily, the high damage per shot is going to try and make up for that, but it can take a little bit of getting used to, and you want to try and be as accurate as possible since it's going to be quite a bit of time between each shots with this weapon. It is not the K10. You can't just spray in a general direction and get a kill. You actually have to aim. The muzzle velocity on this gun also doesn't help with that. You're only going to be shooting 320 meters per second by default, let alone if you decide to put a suppressor on this at any point. That's going to lower your muzzle velocity even further. So 320 meters per second is very, very slow. It's almost like throwing a rock, if you will, which means that if you are aiming at those further range targets, it's going to be actually harder to hit them because you're going to have to aim higher, you're going to have to lead further, and it can just make things a little bit more tricky. Now there's also a stat with this gun that I'm not particularly fond of, and that's the reload speed. It's not particularly long, 2.25 seconds, pretty fast in general, but when you compare it to some of the carbines out there or even the assault rifles, it kind of leaves me wondering, why is this gun reloading at 2.25 seconds, especially when the Battlefield 4 counterpart reloaded at 1.85 seconds. It's an SMG, it's a PDW. These things should be reloading incredibly fast, at pistol speeds almost, to try and give you the leg up in close quarters. Now let's talk about the hipfire performance of this weapon. It's good, although I wouldn't say it's astounding. You know, the MP7 in Battlefield 3 had crazy good hipfire. You could shoot from the hip at 30 feet away, 30 meters away even, and still get kills pretty consistently. This is a gun I would not recommend shooting from 30 meters away from the hip. You could get a kill with it, but you would kill them faster if you aim down sights. Now once you get to around 15 meters, I would say then go for the hipfire shot, because you're going to save a little bit of time acquiring your target, shooting at your target without having to aim down sights first. Now as for the rest of the gadgets with this setup, I absolutely love it. It gives you a lot of flexibility. You can use it on vehicle intensive maps, especially blood money game modes where there's going to be some heavy armored vehicles. It allows you to take down their spawn trucks, no problem. The armored insert is unbelievably useful. You have to be using that as the mechanic class. It negates 50% of your damage to your chest, and I've seen some players shoot me a lot in CQB and think that they've gotten the kill, so they stop firing, and then I just shoot and kill them because they're so used to killing people within a certain amount of shots. But if they shoot me in the chest while I'm wearing an armored insert, all of a sudden it takes double the damage to take me out. Now the flashbang is a fun grenade, but unfortunately I think it just kind of loses out to some of the other grenades in this game in terms of how useful it can be. Why blind your opponent when you can just straight up kill them with a frag grenade, or you can throw a Molotov and burn them and force them to get out of their current situation and basically cut off a certain avenue of travel for a while, or even do extra damage to vehicles over time. Now I do like the flashbang, I just like some of the other grenades in this game even more. Now I like this loadout a lot. It would also be fun to try it out with a suppressor, staying off that minimap in some of the more close quarter infantry intensive game modes. I would suggest definitely putting a red dot sight of your choice on here though, because this gun is still very effective when aiming down sights and its long range potential is surprising. So anyway, I would highly recommend this loadout, and don't forget to leave your comments for next week's episode of Loadout down below. I hope you guys enjoyed, and as always, I'll see you next time. This is LevelCap signing off.